There comes a moment in life when the mind becomes too heavy to carry. The noise, the overthinking, the fear of tomorrow, and no matter how hard you try to escape it, the battle follows you everywhere. But Buddhism teaches a powerful truth. Your greatest suffering is not created by the world around you, but by the mind reacting to it. The moment you learn to quiet the mind, everything begins to change. Fear loses its grip, anxiety weakens, peace slowly returns. In this video, you'll discover ancient Buddhist wisdom designed to help you let go of mental suffering, silence inner chaos, and reconnect with a calmness that has always existed within you. 1. Your mind doesn't always tell the truth. Your mind can sound convincing, especially when life feels heavy. In difficult moments, the voice inside your head often becomes louder. I'm failing. Nothing will change. I'm not strong enough. But not every thought deserves your trust. Ancient Buddhist wisdom teaches that the mind is restless by nature. It reacts, exaggerates, remembers pain, and predicts fear. Left unchecked, it can pull you into stories that feel real even when they are not. A thought is only a mental event, not your identity, not your destiny, and not absolute truth. The moment you stop treating every thought as a fact, you begin to reclaim your peace. Instead of fighting your mind, observe it. Watch your thoughts come and go like waves in the ocean. Some are calm, some are violent, but none of them last forever. Beneath those waves is something deeper and steady, your awareness. You are not the fear, you are the one noticing it. When anxious thoughts appear, pause for a moment. Breathe. Let them pass without attaching yourself to them. This is mindfulness, the quiet power of staying present without being controlled by every emotion or fear. And over time, you'll discover a strength within yourself that no negative thought can shake. 2. Peace begins when you stop living in tomorrow. Most anxiety is created by a future that hasn't even happened. The mind constantly pulls us away from the present moment and into imagined scenarios. What if everything falls apart? What if I fail? What if I can't handle what's coming? But these fears are not reality. They are predictions, stories created by the mind. Buddhist teachings remind us of something deeply freeing. The future is an illusion until it arrives. Life only exists in this moment, right now, this breath, this heartbeat. When you return your attention to the present, fear begins to lose its grip. You notice that in this exact moment, you are still here, still breathing, still standing. The mind wants certainty about tomorrow, but peace is found in fully experiencing today. Instead of feeding anxious thoughts, return to your senses. Feel your breath moving in and out. Listen to the sounds around you. Notice the ground beneath your feet. These simple acts reconnect you with reality instead of fear. Most of the things we worry about never happen, yet we suffer as if they already have. You do not need to solve your entire future tonight. You only need to meet this moment with awareness. And sometimes, one calm breath is enough to bring you back to yourself. 3. The moment you stop controlling everything, life changes. A huge part of human suffering comes from trying to control things that were never ours to control. We try to force life into our plans. We want certainty, perfect outcomes, and people who never disappoint us. But reality moves on its own terms. Plans fail, people change, unexpected storms arrive without warning. And the harder we fight reality, the more exhausted we become. Buddhist wisdom teaches that peace is not found in controlling life. It's found in learning how to respond to life. Because true control has never been about the outside world. It's about your inner world. You cannot stop painful moments from appearing, but you can decide whether they destroy your peace. You cannot control someone else's behavior, but you can control whether you carry their negativity inside you. That is real strength. Most people spend their lives trying to control every outcome, only to lose themselves in stress and fear. But freedom begins when you loosen your grip and trust the present moment. When chaos appears, breathe before reacting. When life changes direction, allow yourself to adapt instead of panic. When uncertainty arrives, meet it with calm instead of resistance. You don't need control over everything to feel peace. You only need control over how you respond. And that is where true power begins. 4. Your pain was not the end, it was the beginning. Some of the most important moments in your life were the ones that nearly broke you, the heartbreak you never saw coming, the failure that shattered your confidence, the nights filled with silence, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. At the time, those moments may have felt meaningless, like life was punishing you for reasons you couldn't understand. But Buddhism teaches a different perspective. Your suffering was not empty, it was shaping you. Just like gold must endure fire to become pure, human beings often grow through discomfort, loss, and struggle. The darkest seasons of your life carried lessons that comfort never could. Pain has a way of stripping away illusion. It forces you to slow down, reflect, and face parts of yourself you once ignored. And in that process, something powerful begins to awaken inside you. Wisdom, strength, compassion. The truth is, your hardest days changed you in ways success never could. They taught you how fragile life is, which made you value each peaceful moment more deeply. They taught you empathy, because once you've truly suffered, you begin to understand the pain hidden inside others. And they taught you resilience, the quiet realization that even after everything, you still found a way to keep going. That is no small thing. In Buddhism, suffering is not seen as proof that life is against you. It is seen as a doorway to awakening, a chance to release ego, attachment, and fear, and discover a deeper inner peace beneath the chaos. So stop seeing your past as something to hate or erase. Every wound carried a lesson, every setback forced growth. Every painful chapter shaped the person you are becoming today. One day, you may look back at the moments that hurt you most and realize they were also the moments that transformed you most deeply. Because sometimes the breaking is what finally opens the soul to the light. 5. The strongest people don't react to everything. One of the greatest forms of inner power is the ability to remain calm when everything around you is trying to pull you into chaos. Most people react to life automatically. Someone disrespects them, and anger immediately takes over. A small inconvenience appears, and frustration ruins the entire day. Bad news arrives, and fear begins creating stories in the mind within seconds. But Buddhism teaches something most people never realize. Not every situation deserves your emotional energy. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every thought deserves your attention. A peaceful mind is not built by controlling the world, it is built by learning what is worth reacting to and what is not. Imagine your mind as a clear sky. Thoughts, emotions, and outside problems are like passing weather. Some storms are loud and intense, while others disappear quickly. But when you identify with every storm, you lose sight of the sky itself. This is why people become emotionally exhausted. They fight every opinion, defend themselves against every criticism, and absorb every negative experience as if it defines them. Eventually, they lose their peace. Buddhist wisdom teaches the importance of the pause. That small moment between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. Inside that pause is your freedom. When someone speaks harshly to you, your first instinct may be to attack back or shut down emotionally. But if you pause and observe your emotions without immediately obeying them, something incredible happens. You stop becoming a prisoner of impulse. You begin responding consciously instead of reacting emotionally. And many times you'll discover that the negativity coming from others has little to do with you. Hurt people often spread hurt because they are fighting battles within themselves. If you react to every insult, every inconvenience, and every emotional trigger, your mind becomes constantly restless. Even small problems begin to feel overwhelming. But when you learn to stay centered, life changes. A rude comment becomes just sound. A stressful moment becomes temporary. A wave of anger becomes something you can observe instead of something you must obey. This applies not only to the outside world, but also to the voice inside your own mind. Sometimes your harshest critic is not another person, it is you. The mind constantly whispers things like, "You're failing, you're not enough, you'll never change." But Buddhism reminds us that thoughts are passing mental events, not absolute truth. You do not need to react to every fearful thought that enters your mind. You can simply notice it and let it pass. That is real emotional mastery. The next time frustration rises inside you, pause before speaking. Take a breath. Feel the emotion without feeding it. Remind yourself that not every feeling requires action. Over time, this practice creates a deep inner stability. The world may still be noisy, unpredictable, and difficult, but you no longer lose yourself inside every storm. Because true peace comes when you stop giving every disturbance the power to control your mind. And sometimes the most powerful response is no reaction at all. 6. The problem isn't blocking your path, it is the path. Most people see pain as a sign that life is going wrong. When difficulties appear, heartbreak, failure, rejection, uncertainty, the first instinct is usually resistance. We ask, "Why is this happening to me?" We try to escape the discomfort as quickly as possible, believing that happiness can only return once the problem disappears. But Buddhism teaches a completely different way of seeing suffering. What if the obstacle is not ruining your journey? What if it's shaping it? Some of the greatest transformations in life begin during seasons we never asked for. Pain slows you down. It forces you to reflect. It reveals truths you were too distracted to notice before. And often, the very experience you tried to avoid becomes the experience that awakens you. Imagine walking up a mountain and suddenly finding the road blocked. At first, frustration takes over. You think the journey has ended. But as you search for another route, you discover hidden landscapes you never would have seen if the original path had remained easy. This is how growth works. Difficulties do not only challenge you, they reveal you. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering contains lessons hidden beneath the surface. Every painful moment carries an opportunity to develop patience, awareness, compassion, or inner strength. But only if you stop asking, "How do I escape this?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" A heartbreak may teach you self-respect. Failure may teach you resilience. Loneliness may reconnect you with yourself. Uncertainty may teach you how to let go of control. This doesn't mean pain suddenly becomes pleasant. Buddhism does not ask you to pretend suffering feels good. It asks you to stop seeing suffering as meaningless, because many people spend their lives fighting reality instead of learning from it. The mind resists discomfort because it wants certainty. It wants life to move according to a perfect plan. But growth rarely happens inside comfort. The deepest wisdom is often born from the moments that forced you to rebuild yourself. This is why Buddhist teachings often describe suffering as a doorway to awakening. Not punishment, not failure, awakening. When challenges arise, pause before labeling them as disasters. Breathe deeply and observe the story your mind immediately creates. Notice how quickly fear predicts the worst-case scenario. Then gently ask yourself, could there be another way to see this? Could this challenge be shaping me into someone stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? That single shift changes everything, because the moment you stop viewing obstacles as enemies, you stop feeling powerless against them. You begin walking through life differently, with more patience, more trust, more emotional freedom. Over time, you realize that every difficult season carried a hidden purpose. Every setback redirected you. Every painful ending created space for a new beginning. And one day, you may look back at the struggle that once broke your heart and realize it was the very thing that opened your eyes. Because sometimes, the path to peace first appears disguised as a problem. 7. Faith is what walks you through the dark. Fear doesn't usually appear when life is stable. It appears when things become uncertain, when you don't know what comes next, when the ground beneath you feels unstable, when your mind starts imagining worst-case scenarios that haven't even happened. In those moments, the unknown feels larger than your courage. It's like standing at the edge of a dark forest, unable to see what's inside. The mind immediately fills the silence with danger, uncertainty, and imagined outcomes that feel real even though they don't exist yet. But Buddhism offers a different response to this inner storm. Faith, known as saddha in Buddhist teachings, is not blind belief or wishful thinking. It is a quiet, grounded confidence built through experience, awareness, and understanding. It is the inner light that allows you to take the next step even when the entire path is not visible. Fear grows when the mind tries to predict what it cannot control. It creates stories like, "What if I fail? What if everything falls apart? What if I can't handle what's coming?" But these are not realities. They are mental projections, like watching a frightening movie inside your own imagination. Faith interrupts that cycle. It gently reminds you, you don't need to see the entire future to move forward. You only need enough clarity for the next step. And that step can simply be breath, a pause, a moment of presence. Real faith is not abstract. It is built through lived experience. Think back to the difficult times you've already survived, the moments you once believed you wouldn't recover from. Yet you did. Somehow, through heartbreak, loss, failure, or uncertainty, you found a way forward. Strength appeared when you needed it. Support arrived in unexpected forms. Solutions emerged slowly, even when none were visible at the beginning. Those moments are evidence, proof that life continues to move, even when you cannot see how. Buddhism also teaches impermanence, the truth that nothing remains the same forever. Not joy, not pain, not fear. Everything passes. When you truly understand this, fear loses its intensity. You begin to realize that even the darkest emotional state is temporary, like weather moving across the sky. Faith also grows through connection, through teachings, guidance, and shared human experience. Across time, countless people have faced fear, uncertainty, and suffering, and still found peace on the other side. Their journeys become reminders that you are not the first to walk through darkness, and you will not be the last. But faith is not passive. It works together with action. Even one mindful breath becomes an act of trust. A quiet statement that says, "I don't need to panic. I can stay present." Each time you choose awareness instead of fear, faith strengthens. And over time, something shifts. Fear no longer feels like a wall stopping you. It becomes a signal, a reminder to return to yourself, to breathe, to trust, to continue. You begin to see fear not as an enemy, but as a guide pointing you back to inner stability. Faith does not remove uncertainty from life. It changes your relationship with it. And in that change, you discover something powerful. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can face the unknown and still remain steady. You can walk through darkness without losing your inner light. These 7 lessons are not just ideas to understand. They are practices to live by when life feels overwhelming. You are not defined by every thought you have. You are only ever here, in this moment. While you can't control everything around you, you can always choose how you meet it. Pain has already shaped your strength. Not every trigger deserves your reaction. Every difficulty carries meaning, even if it's not immediately clear. And when fear returns, faith reminds you of everything you've already survived. With practice, worry loses its grip, and inner calm becomes your natural state. Return to these truths whenever you need grounding, and keep moving forward, gently and consciously.